Hello, YouTube. It's Vince White. I am still an employment attorney. And we are talking about the Twitter return to office debacle that's currently going on. And it appears, perhaps, that someone from the Twitter in-house legal department has intimated, has suggested that many Twitter employment contracts may guarantee remote work. Now, if you don't know, and I didn't, but I was just speaking to a reporter who's very much in the know, who's very talented. Apparently, for years, Twitter has been a remote workplace. And now, currently, the new owner of Twitter, Elon Musk, I guess partial owner, the new partial owner, majority owner, perhaps, I don't know, of Twitter has decided everyone's going to work from the office. So, what are the ramifications of that? If it is true, one, because I'm going to have a whole list here. One, if it is true that the Twitter employment contracts, some of them, all of them, I don't know, guarantee the right to work remotely, then, if that is true, this new policy would be a breach of every contract in which that right is guaranteed, giving all of those employees, wherever they may be, remote working from Bora Bora, I assume, the Highlands of Scotland, somewhere gorgeous, right? I'm currently remote working from rural New Hampshire, right? Wherever they are, they're going to have themselves a bit of a breach of contract claim against Twitter, if that was in their contract. And I use the word if with all the emphasis that I can muster, because I don't think it probably is, although I have not seen that contract recently. It's been a while. Probably never seen this version of the contract ever, to be clear. So, yeah, that would be wild. That would be thousands of claims, depending on how many people had this hypothetical guarantee for remote work in their contract, in their employment contract with Twitter. Again, I'm skeptical. That seems like that would be a wild right to grant someone in their employment contract, but big tech does big tech things sometimes, and it's certainly possible. You know, the big five tech companies, they really do compete for employees pretty aggressively, and I could see it happening. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying, wow, that's wild. Our firm does guarantee remote work for its employees, but you know, it's a little different in size and scale, right? Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about, calling everybody to work. I think they gave them 2 weeks to be back in the office. Now I have questions. First and foremost, I want to say, when you're looking at the constructive termination angle, let's say our hypothetical talented employee who's living in the Scottish Highlands has moved to the Scottish Highlands and is working there, tending her or his Highland cattle, those big hairy sheep that you see. Not sheep. Those big hairy cows that you see. I got sheep on the brain. I want to run a sheep farm. But okay, so they're in the Highlands. They're tending to their Highland cattle, and they're working their little hearts out for Twitter, coding or HRing or whatever they're doing for Twitter, right? And the new Twitter masters of the universe say, you have to be back in the office in 2 weeks. Say what? How do you think I'm going to do that? I don't even think I can get a flight that fast. It is difficult during this current juncture of the world to even catch a flight that's not getting canceled, right? So like, there's just the logistical issue of, can I even get to a Twitter office? Where are I would suggest that some of these people are going to have to be like, well, where are the Twitter offices? What are my options? Do I have to go to San Francisco? Do you know what an apartment goes for in San Francisco these days? It's not, I mean, how am I going to do that? All the hotels in San Francisco will be full. All the hotels and all the apartments around all the Twitter offices in the world are going to be full because people are going to be trying to keep their job and rushing but incapable of getting housing on 2 weeks' notice. So I think there's going to be a bunch of people right off the bat that are going to have constructive termination arguments. The upshot of that is there's going to be a whole bunch of people who might qualify for unemployment benefits if they don't comply with this and they do need to get fired. Now, the constructive termination argument is also going to have significant angles for a variety of people in terms of other provisions of their employment contract, right? If you've got a vesting schedule, and your vesting says, hey, if we terminate you for no apparent reason, you get to vest. But if we terminate you for cause, you don't get to vest unless you've met your deadlines. You know, that's a key difference, right? And with vesting schedules for big tech, that can be a significant portion of their income. It can be really huge. And so that's going to play hell. That's going to be the source of litigation, even if the right to remote work was not in fact guaranteed by the contract, even if, which someone in the legal department seems to say it was, but even if it wasn't, well, that's going to give rise to litigation. How much litigation? I don't know. Thousands? Potentially. Could be. I don't know. But then let's drill down a little further. What about folks who have medical accommodations for remote work, which are, in terms of my internal data, exponentially more likely to have been granted in 2022 than they were in 2019? Why? We had a pandemic. We had a pandemic that killed a lot of people with comorbidities, right? If you're happy, healthy, walking around with no comorbidities, you were fine. Yeah, people died, but it wasn't, you know. But if you had a comorbidity, that was wildly dangerous. So a lot of people, before the vaccines came out, got themselves medical exemptions to work from home to be safe and not die, right? And then when the vaccines came out, a lot more people, and I'm only talking about legitimate medical exemptions here, like this is vetted by doctors, the real, not talking about the I don't want us. Those are a different case. That's a different story entirely. I'm talking about people who are going to say two things. One, I cannot take this vaccine because of a real medical condition, as very clearly set out by my doctor, who is a real doctor. Or two, I can take the vaccine, but it will not be as effective or effective at all for me. Therefore, I must work from home. All of those people still have, under federal law, the right to those exemptions. And I don't know if Twitter is making exceptions for those people. Very famously, New York City, in all of its wisdom, called everybody back to office and didn't really make provisions for medical exemptions, and then got sued so much that it's still working its way out. Like, it's still happening. That those lawsuits are still pending their way. There's so many of them, right? So there's a lot of upshots here. Like, there's really a lot of things going on, a lot of things to think about. And I think what you have is some top-down thinking. Like, hey, we're taking control of this new giant entity. It's not been going well. Like, Twitter hasn't, I think, done well for like half a decade, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a business guy. I'm not a biz dev, whatever that is. But my understanding from the financial press is that Twitter is not going great, right? So they bought a company that's not going great, and they got to make some changes, they think. Okay. So they don't know the staff. They have concerns about the staff. It seems like perhaps things aren't getting done. The company's been floundering. They need to get everybody in the office. That's what they think, right? So they make a top-down decision. We need everybody in the office. Great. That's cool. The problem with top-down decision making is the minutia, the ground floor, the boots on the ground, right? Often that reality does not match the data that's wafting up to the top-down decision makers, right? So I guess what I'm saying is there's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of ways this could go wrong. And I'm really excited to watch it play out because this is going to be so much litigation. Like, I don't even know. Yeah. This wasn't helpful to anyone. This was me engaging in talking out loud, working out my own thoughts on the topic out loud into a camera. And I did not earn your like and subscribe today, but I'm going to release this video anyways. Take care.